Raider World Order. The following announcement has been paid for by the Raider World Order.
Oh, hello. Sorry, my niece just busted in on my room. Oh, if you're gonna come in, be quiet. Go sit over there. All right, Raider Nation, YouTube. I'm Afakasi Raider. My boy to my right, on Six Soldier. How are we doing today, gang? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, AR. Thanks for having me on, man. Another beautiful day in the Raider Nation, man. Just excited and waiting for this draft so everything can really get started.
For sure. And salute to everybody in the chat. I see you guys. We got Jack, we got brother Yaya, and Anthony Provencio. So salute to you guys.
What's up? Good morning, fellas. Thanks for being here.
How you been, man? What's shaking with you?
Nothing much, man. Just living, man. Life, man. Just seeing our GM cooking free agency, man. I like what I'm seeing so far, man. Can't complain. Life is good when you're a Raider fan right now.
Hell yeah, it's looking good, man. I like the moves. I like what we've been doing. Kind of throws a wrench in the systems per se with the whole Max Crosby affair, which we'll get into. But you know, it seems like they're making the best of it, and I mean, we can still afford to keep him, right? Which it seems like we're going to
Yeah.
be doing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It sucks that it happened to Max Crosby because at the end of the day, he didn't do anything wrong. We all know who was the culprit here and got cold feet, and that was the Baltimore Ravens, that organization. You know what I mean? I just lost all respect for that organization. You're gonna literally make him fly 5 hours on the coach flight and then make him drive 2 hours to your facility, right? Not the GM, not the head coach. Nobody was there to greet him. Just some random guy. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is how you treat players that come into your organization that you just gave up the farm and the land for. It makes no sense. At the end of the day, you guys didn't deserve a player of his caliber, and I'm glad he's back because at the end of the day, it just shows you what kind of team you are and shit. And your team's just going to shit. Your team, you just lost like 10 free agents. You know what I mean? And all you've done is added one pass rusher and 10 Hendricks. And that's all you done. Great offseason, Ravens. Great offseason.
It was interesting to hear his side of the story. I mean, I take it you watched the same Rush episode that I
Yeah.
watched. I just watched it on the way to go visit my brother. Yesterday or 2 days ago. Very interesting to hear his perspective on things and to hear how he was treated in that. I mean, when he got into the building, he was talking about how you could tell that the GM and the coach, like their demeanor was really off, and that something was going on. And sure enough, he found out real quick, right?
Yeah, that shit sucks too. And then the worst thing about it, rumors start circulating that when he was in the building, they were already talking to Trey Hendricks and shit. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? You know what I mean? You guys knew ahead of time, still made him drop, fly all those 5 hours, and then make him drive another two. What can you just told him, hey, ahead of time? Oh, hey, you know what? We don't like what we see ahead of time. Don't even bother coming out here. But yet you made him waste all that time, that energy, do all that, and just for him to say no, it just show you what kind of shit organization you are, Baltimore Ravens, and it just a dark stain on you. And I don't think a lot of teams are going to want to negotiate with you or trade in the future with this. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, not only did you fuck up both teams, you messed up the whole market for the pass rushers and messed up pretty much the whole draft as well. You know what I mean? But it is what it is at the end of the day. Like you said, we're welcoming Max back. You know what I mean? Plus, next year, we're going to get another $30 million of cap space from Gino and Christian Wilkins coming off the book. So we'll be fine. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Like he said, everything happens for a reason, and Max is here and he's a Raider.
Right. It is bad business, that's for damn sure. And salute to the guys trickling in. I see you, Raider for Life, and Raider Jeff, who's in the building. Can you see the chat? Oh.
No, I can't.
All right, just give me a moment. I'll situate that now. You will be able to see it on this screen. There it is. All right, so I'm sharing it with you now.
Okay.
I like that Max has taken it in stride, and it seems the Raiders on their end have done their best to try and patch things up per se. And it looks like for the now, and until proven otherwise, he's going to be a Raider, a Raider this upcoming season. I just hope that with Max coming back, that this is going to be the most motivated version of Max that we've seen so far. And if that translates over to more production, then absolutely that's going to be fantastic. My stream is about to crash because my guy Raider Jeff just sent me 5 gifted membership. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for doing that. We're going to see the graphic.
And then the worst part about it too, it's not the first time the Baltimore Ravens have done this. They've done this multiple times in the past. It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? They've done this back in the days when they signed Ryan Williams from the Packers. They felt his physical, and then all of a sudden, the next day they magically sign Michael Crabtree. Like all of a sudden, they do this all the time, and yeah, there's no consequences for them. Something needs to be done. At the end of the day, I know they didn't break the rules or do anything wrong, but at the end of the day, there still has to be some consequence for anyone that's listening to this.
All right, we got one more. All right, I think we're goody now. Thank you for doing that, Jeff. It's much appreciated, your support. You didn't have to do that, but you did. So, yeah, much love, my friend. Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear a word of what you said. I don't know if you could see that. I had the graphic playing on the screen while you were shooting. So, yeah. And salute to you, Marcus. I see you. And everyone else who's joined us. Sorry, Aunt, did you want to share that again?
Oh, my bad. I was just saying that it wasn't the first time the Baltimore Ravens have done this. They've done this in the past. They signed the wide receiver from the Green Bay Packers, you know what I mean, to a huge deal. He's never missed a game in his life, but yeah, he failed his physical, and then the next day they went out and go sign a Michael Crabtree. So it's just weird that they always have done this, and yet nothing has been done to this organization about it. But it is what it is. When just moving on now, but
it's bad business, and it does force us to adapt with our plans that we were going to do via the draft and with our available cap space. But in Spytech, I trust. He seems to be doing his thing. So, yeah, just keep on keeping on. Like, let's on to the next one, right? Excuse me. And salute to you, Snoops, and Jerry up in the building.
yeah, what's up, my brother Banks?
Free agency. So, how do you feel about the moves? I'm just going to pull up the share screen one moment, please, so you'll be able to see all the moves we made this far. It's been how long into it? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks now.
All right, so just give me a moment, chat. So I'm just going to share it with Aunt so we can see the graphic. One moment, please. All right. Share screen. All right, boom. So there's a list of the free agent signings that we've made this far. Of course, highlighted by the signing of Tyler Linderbaum. Gee, I know Jeff is so disappointed with that one.
So disappointed.
Yeah, I bet he would have been pounding his table in utter disappointment about us using so much of our salary cap room to find that. Thank you very much, Marcus. He's been a member for 9 months now, so I appreciate it. Sorry, I was in the middle of shooting. I was being sarcastic, but that our free agents agency was highlighted with his signing. We also signed linebackers Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker, Kwadi Pay, the defensive end, Teron Johnson. We traded for. I believe that was the first move we made in free agency, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yeah, right before it opened, we traded for him because they were about to cut him and shit. And he's one of the better slot corners in the league, so that's a big move.
For sure. Well, I hear good things about what he might be able to do at the nickel. Jalen Naylor, the wide receiver. Matt Gay, the kicker. Derek Young, kick returner / wide receiver. Connor Hayward, fullback. I hope I'm saying this name properly. Sagun Alubi, linebacker. And Spencer Burford, guard. I think he came from the Niners, right? I think that was our latest signing. We also re-signed the likes of Eric Stokes, Malcolm Kuntz, and Thomas Booker IV. So those are the key signings that we've made this far. So what say you about the free agency signings? Like, what do you say would be your favorite signing or signings, and maybe is there any that you kind of question?
Yeah, I mean the two that I love the most are the two linebackers who got. You know what I mean? Getting Dean and Walker, especially when they were teammates at Georgia. Now that both of them coming young guys that can be here for a couple of years, that can grow. Imagine that. What's the last time we actually had two young linebackers here in the Raiders? You know what I mean? They're gonna be here for more than 1 year together and stuff. So that's amazing.
Right?
One's a tackling machine. The other one's a silent to sideline. So they're just are gonna work so good together. I think we actually got one of the better linebacking cores in the league, and I actually do believe that just by them two. You know what I mean? But the one that really scratches my head, and I also was talking to you about it, not because his name or anything, but the kicker Matt Gay. He's a 73% field goal percentage for his career, and we just cut Daniel Carson. That's a 81% field goal percentage kicker. You know what I mean? So how is that an upgrade at the kicker position when we already have one of the better kickers in the league? You know what I mean? I don't really care about his name or anything. I know people are mad because his game. I don't really care about his name. At the end of the day, I want the players that come here and do the job. And I think Carlson struggled last year, but same thing. I think it has to do something with the special teams coach. You know what I mean? Everyone has the off year, but just seeing him go, that one hurt.
Right, and I'm also looking at his age too. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Carlson was younger, right?
Yeah, he was younger too.
Right. And salute to those who've just joined the stream. 619, I see you. Jerry and anyone else has stopped by. I can't bring your comments up on the screen because I'm using a different program today. But I see you guys. I'll read out your comments when I get the chance. Yeah, so we were just talking about that. That was a little bit of a questionable move, but maybe it's because they're trying to save money, as well as I believe they're going to bring someone younger via either late in the draft or maybe undrafted, but we will see. Fear Raider, I like that comment. He says Morrison and Howard 2.0. Well, I hope so. It's been a long time since our linebacker core has been a point of strength. And salute to you, Seabass. I see you in the building. Especially as you highlighted, having two young guys come in and be the new faces that are going to be the cornerstones of that level of the defense. Can it translate over to results? I mean, I hear both of these two guys are coming up somewhat of a down year since their early years in the league, and hopefully that can, turn over, or at least one of them, right? So yeah, I liked what we've done with the linebacker core. I just hope that it works out and brings our linebacker core to being somewhat relevant because we've had some guys in recent years like Robert Spillane and Denzel Perryman who have been productive, but like as a whole, the linebacker core has been something that's been neglected for the most part, and I want to see it become a point of strength again. Kind of like the days of, as you highlighted, Fear Raider Morrison and Thomas Howard, or back in the early 2000s with Bill Romanowski and Napoleon Harris and co. And salute to you, Raquel. I see you in the building. Nice to see you in the feed. But that would be nice to see it all kind of shake out. And I guess what they do now that we've switched to a 3-4, we're going to see Max Crosby and now that we re-signed Malcolm Kuntz kind of take that outside linebacking core, or are they going to stay up in the on the defensive line per se? I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah, I'm just excited, man. There's a lot of more help from Max Crosby on this defense, man. A lot more, and I'm just excited for the season. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting us to go to the playoffs and make us run the Super Bowl, but I do expect this to be a lot better from
Salute to
last
you,
season,
Red Man.
especially with the upgrades at the coaching spots that we made this offseason as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But Tyler Linderbaum, like, of course, being the key free agent, I really like that we attacked that area of our roster heavily by going after him, and now that he can provide us with some stability and leadership, which we do need after last season, right? I mean, there's still some young guys there that I believe in, but we really need another cornerstone alongside the likes of Colt Miller, who's getting a little older, right?
No, he is, but he's still a top five left tackle in this league until something else happens. But that's the thing is, I think that's why they drafted
Salute you,
Grant
Randy
last
Joe.
year just to boot his replacement in the future. But we'll see what happens.
For sure, for sure. And I guess what do you think of the other guys? Like, how do you feel about Quaddy Pay, Teron Johnson, Derek Young? I do kind of like that, Derek Young. Like, we've taken a swing at it, trying to find a returner, something we've lacked for a long time, right?
No facts. And then the linebacker that we got from the Colts, I can't pronounce his name. I'll let you do that. But he's a good special teams player as
Sagoon
well.
Alubi, I think.
Yeah, I think he has like two or three career blocks on special teams. So it's good that they're not just trying to fix the offense and the defense. They're actually trying to fix the special teams as well. Because that's been one of our biggest needs. Not just saying because they're kickers and punters, but just the players that are on that special teams unit.
Right. It'd be nice to see a little bit more production from that return side, especially on kickoff returns. It just hasn't really been where we wanted it to be for a long time.
Facts.
And I was joking, Raider Jeff. Of course, Raider Jeff's going to be the happiest in the room when it comes to the signing of Tyler Linderbaum.
He already ordered his jersey, from what I hear.
Did he really? Oh wow! Go figure. That'd be his first jersey that he's bought. I think he said the last one he bought was, who was it? The offensive lineman we took, Gallery. That's it, Robert Gallery.
Oh, Robert Gallery. I'm not thinking about that guy.
I also like the signing of Connor Hayward, bringing in a fullback to help out with the blocking side of things for Ashton Genty and whoever we bring in via the draft. I don't doubt that we're going to draft a running back, right?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I wouldn't even be surprised if we draft another fullback or even sign one in an undrafted one, because I probably could see us have two in here, and especially Mr. Hayward over here can even play some tight end too. So if you ever need a third tight end, he can do that for you as well. And he's a really good blocker. So I'm gonna be excited this year for my boy Genty. You know, he's gonna look a lot better and stuff this year. So that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, hopefully that is the case with all the new signings, right? And if we draft some more linemen or whatever it is, and I keep saying it, I hope that now with the new coaching, we can see the young guys that we have in the door develop the way that they should have improved last season. Because for me, it was just inexcusable how not just some of our guys, everyone seemed to regress on that offensive line, and it wasn't good enough at all.
Brandon Carroll.
Carroll. Right. Get up out of here. See it, don't
For
come
real.
back, Jack.
Fact, that's what I think the biggest move that we made was hiring the offensive line coach because everywhere he's gone, he has produced 1,000 yard runners, and it's just unbelievable. If you go and look at his bio, just see everywhere he's gone and all the 1,000 yard runners he's had. So just seeing what he's done with the offensive lineman and just being able to make them the best they could be, I'm excited, man. Just that's the biggest coach move I think, and I'm excited for that one alone.
For anybody who can hear the background noise, that's actually my niece. She's up late tonight because I spoil her a little too much. So my apologies for the background noise. But anyways, where was I? Seabass says we need a defensive tackle to add to the D line. Well, I guess the way our roster shakes up, like we do need a true nose tackle per se. But it's kind of sad when you think about it. I keep highlighting this, how many times we've swung at the defensive tackle position via the draft, and we still haven't found somebody that we can depend on 100% rather than guys who have just shown things in spots, right?
Facts. It's just embarrassing too. And even going back to when we drafted Brian Young, we actually drafted the wrong one, and then the one we actually wanted, it turned out to be a Pro Bowler for the Rams. It's just unbelievable the luck that we have. Even when we drafted, we want the right guy. We can't even get the right card with the right name onto the podium to get him on the team. So it's just embarrassing and shit. But at the end of the day, man, we need a true nose tackle that's going to be in there. That Greg Ellis type that's just going to be in there, just going to take on 2 blocks and stuff. You know, just to free the linebackers. But we'll see what happens.
For sure. And how about the guys we re-signed with Eric Stokes, Malcolm Kuntz, and Thomas Booker? How do you feel about that?
I'm excited for Malcolm Kuntz because he's originally an outside linebacker in the 3-4 when he was at Buffalo. So I think he's going back to his natural position. So should be good for him. You know, getting Stokes back was a key. You know what I mean? He was a top 5 corner. You know what I mean? Rated last year. So having him back on there should be a good thing. And having Booker, I think he was one of the better interior defensive linemen that we had last year. And just get him on this team another year with our Robbie Leonard. Now he's a defensive coordinator. Should be see a big jump for him this year. So I'm hoping to see it.
For sure. Well, I'm happy to see Kuntz come back. I didn't. I would have thought were going to move on from Kuntz, but it seems to be. Sorry about the noise.
Wait. Hey, I don't blame her. She wants to see Kuntz back. Let's go. That's right.
She's excited for the Raiders, aren't she, Maya? Hey, Maya. Hey. Yeah, I thought Malcolm Kuntz was almost for certainty going to be gone by the season end, but I guess it's a sign that they feel that he was starting to regain that form towards the end of the season, and he just needed a little bit more time, which now has been 2 years removed from his injury that kind of hindered his play at the start of the season. I mean, he seemed noticeably slow, right? But he seemed to come on a little bit better towards the end of the season. So maybe they have belief that he can be the player he once showed to be and realize that potential that we hoped he would, especially in a new scheme that might be more suitable to his skill set, right?
Facts. So that's the thing is I'm excited for this year. I don't know about you, I'm excited.
I am too. And of course, we've got the draft coming up. So that's our draft capital as it stands at the moment. I mean, I know there's a few of us that are quite bummed we don't have the 14th pick still. I'm one of them, but we've been able to retain Max Crosby, who still is our franchise guy, which is good to see. And the other change, I guess, is the draft trade with the Jets, which is very interesting that we were able to get something for Geno Smith. Bravo, Spytek. And Ray, I see you in the building. Salute to you.
Ray?
So I think we swapped positions with round 6 and round 7. So that's the only other change that's been made to that. But we still hold, I think it's, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10 picks now instead of 11.
Yeah, I'm excited for this, especially to see what John Spytek does, especially now that he actually has another year. You know what I mean? with this team, he actually knows what we need, man. But it's just exciting, man. The future is bright, especially when we draft Fernando number one. You know what I mean? And then we'll go from there. But we don't have that many much needs on this team that we did. So shout out to Spytech for trying to fill these needs. So it just should be interesting with who we take in the second round because it's going to be a good minute, and we'll see what happens between picks 2 to 32 before we're back on the board.
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's a certainty almost what we're going to do with pick number one, but it's going to be interesting to see where they attack and who we get there on after. Are we going to try and make moves up the draft or down the draft to acquire more picks? I guess time will tell. But we still have a lot of areas that I feel we need to address. I'm hoping we can find somebody who's worth a damn at wide receiver. I'm not confident in banking on the development of the likes of the guys we drafted last season to be our number one. And as much as I like Trey Tucker, to me, he's a spot guy and not really what you want to be your number one guy. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what we do there. I'm hoping we take another running back, another couple of offensive linemen, a nose tackle like we were talking about before. So yeah, there's still plenty of areas where we can attack by going best player available, right?
Yeah, especially too. There's a kid out of USC that plays running back and strong safety. You know what I mean? Really unbelievable guy. And I'm just hoping the Raiders can draft him in the second round. You know what I mean? He broke all their records and stuff. You know about my buddy Dustin.
If you know, you
I'm
know.
just joking. You know. But on all seriousness, it's just exciting, man. I really am, especially seeing how Spike Chick draft came out from last year, just to him seeing the develop. And I wish it was already April. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I already got my PTO in. I'm gonna be off those days. I'm just ready and excited. So let's get this going.
Sorry, I lost my chain of thought there. Snoop says that we're targeting Texas Tech. Well, isn't that linebacker the one that everyone's hyping? Was it Rodriguez? Is he from Texas Tech?
Yeah, he is. Everybody's hyping him up. He's one of the better linebackers in this year's draft class. He just ran a little slower than he did. That's why he's dropping a little bit. But I wouldn't mind drafting him. He's a really good playmaker and a good tackler. But I don't think we're gonna go linebacker that high now. After we drafted signed the two good ones that we did. So you never know. But I don't think see us drafting the linebacker that high.
Well, I can see it happening. I mean, like I said, BPA. I don't mind round two if he or anyone else of BPA. It doesn't really matter to me as long as who we do get is going to be a starter. I mean, down the line, a good starter. I mean, it doesn't have to be straight away. Ideally, that would be fantastic with your
Facts.
first two or even first three rounds per se. But it's going to be exciting. I mean, having that much draft capital, I just hope we can hit on. God, we don't even have to bat 500. Like if we can nail four out of the 10. Not like say last season or this season before that, where we're only getting one or two guys and we're still waiting for these guys to produce or prove themselves to be worthy of said picks. Like it's definitely an important draft where we do need to find some good starters and hopefully we find our franchise quarterback at number one, right?
No, facts. I believe we are. At the end of the day, I think Fernando Mendoza has all the tools that it does take to make a franchise quarterback. And not just that, him being a religious man, I don't think he's gonna be tempted for anything that has to do with all the stuff in Vegas that everybody's worried about. Because at the end of the day, I know he's a young man and everything, and I know that some people are scared to draft a quarterback and bring him here to Vegas with all that nightlife and stuff. But I don't. I think he's the right man for the job, and I believe in him.
I believe in him too. The time is right. The time is now, and I've already hopped on enough about my endorsement for the pick. I can't say it enough, and I just hope, if and when we do take him, he proves us to be right and not wrong. Because I'm tired of being wrong about these kind of things, right? These things that I'm just so sure will work out, and they just don't. It's about time we get it right across the board, right?
No facts, and I'm just tired, and I'm glad we're actually taking the shot at to develop a young quarterback and signing all these journeymen that have been bust. You know what I mean? Just think about it: Jimmy Garoppolo, Garner Minshew, and now Geno Smith and shit. It's just ridiculous that these have been the quarterback that we've been putting out on the field the last couple years, expecting us to freaking win, and
No.
embarrassing. Now we're not do that no more. You know what I mean? Now we're gonna have a young quarterback that's gonna be on the young rookie contract for the next 5 years. It's gonna be able for us to build a team around him. You know what I mean? And that's a big help these days in the NFL.
Well, speaking of the quarterback position, I mean that's something that there's been that still needs to be addressed. What veteran we're going to bring in the door? Um, I guess the names that are being thrown out there is Kirk Cousins, Joe Flacco, and Derek Carr as well. So, I mean, do you have a personal preference or a guy that you would like us to sign, or you don't really care?
To be honest, at the end of the day, I don't really care because at the end of the day, no matter who we sign, I think they might start for a couple of games, and then Fernando might see the second half or a third of the season. But at the end of the day, I just if we were to sign a quarterback, I want one that has been in the system before and that can teach Fernando it. You know what I mean? And the only ones that I know that have been, and that's Kirk Cousins and then Derek Carr. So preferably one of those two, I would love to sign just to have them teach Fernando the system because they've been in it and teaching the ins and out. But besides that, I don't know about Joe Flacco. I know he still could play and throw the ball, but I don't know if he ever been in the system before.
Well, I guess like the pros with Flacco, from what I understand, like he would be more who you would lean to be that mentor type guy, whereas Kirk Cousins, I would prefer from a play perspective to go with Cousins. But in terms of being a mentor type deal, I mean, he's been kind of vocal about how he doesn't really want to do that. So I guess there's two different sides of the coin, right? Do you want to go with a guy who seems to be at least somewhat more productive for the now, or go with a guy who probably isn't? No, I mean, Joe Flacco's best days are behind him, though. One point in time, he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league, or at least from a game management perspective. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not really against either move, or hell, even if we brought Derek Carr back, like I wouldn't be against that either. But until it happens, I'm not really going to get excited for it. But I thought I'd just bring that up, right?
Yeah. Of course, you never know. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I know Derek Carr has his own podcast now and came out. He would love to do it. You know what I mean? Especially him being in the system and will love him. So at the end of the day, I'm never going to say never, but I'm not
Never
going to
say
get
never.
mad if he doesn't either.
For sure, facts. And salute to Snoops. I don't know if I said hello. Nice to see you in the feed,
What's
my
up,
friend.
Snoops?
Um, what else? Is there any other areas where you feel like you want to go in free agency?
To be honest, just more depth at the offensive line. You know what I mean? I don't even think you're gonna have too much depth. I just want us to sign as many as possible. You know what I mean? Just get much more depth in here. Cause I know injuries gonna happen. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's why I did like the offensive line that we signed from the 49ers. He can play guard and tackle, and he started games before in this league, so he should be a good help on the offensive line, even if he doesn't start.
Sure. And Jeff says Carr would cost us draft pick. Well, we
Oh
got
yeah,
two
he does. Cause
six. Give him one of our six, or I mean, preferably not a fourth, but I don't know. One of our lower end picks would be sufficient. If not, then yeah, no thanks, right?
yeah, because he retired. And supposedly, the Saints still own the rights to him. So if he was to unretire, he would still go back to the Saints, and then the Saints would need to trade him or do whatever they need to do. That's why, like, it makes more sense to sign Kirk Cousins, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, we do still have Aiden O'Connell,
Yeah,
who's not a rookie anymore, but at the same time, like I've said it a lot that I like him from the perspective that he is what we drafted him to be, or that's how I feel, and that is a
hmm
competent enough backup and nothing more. A guy who can win you some games, a guy who can come in a pinch, but as that starter or as that mentor type guy, I mean, what's a rookie really going to learn from, with all due respect, Aiden O'Connell, right?
no facts. I completely agree. But the thing is, Aiden O'Connell, how many head coaches, how many offensive system has he actually been? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he hasn't been given a fair shot either. But at the
Right.
end of the day, you know what I mean? If we were just to keep AOC and draft Fernando and then go sign somebody else, I'll be fine. But I would like a veteran presence in there just to be able to show Fernando the ropes and how he needs to work Monday through Friday to get ready for the game on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But we'll see. I guess I've said it before. If come preseason, whoever it is we bring in the door, and Mendoza outplays him and Aiden O'Connell and proves to
Fact.
be the better option right from the rip, then I'm willing to
Yeah.
just let it ride. I mean, we did that with Derek Carr back in 2014 when we drafted him. Matt Shaw was supposed to be the veteran president. He was supposed to be the guy. Derek Carr completely outplayed him, and the rest was history. He was our starter for years to come. And maybe if it's the same deal with Mendoza, I'd be with it. I mean, he's going to take his licks, he's going to take his shots, he's going to make his mistakes. But as long as you learn and you grow from them, I'm willing to give him time, right?
Facts. And there's always going to be growing pains, not just at the quarterback position, that with all of our coaching staff as well. Our offensive head coach is a first time coach. Our defensive corner is a first time coach. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of growing pains, but the thing is, they're going to be here together for more than 1 year. And that's what I'm excited about. Now we're going to have a foundation for this team that we can start drafting players and having them produce year in and year out.
Well, at least we know where we stand now. That this is the first year of a rebuild, a refresh, a new era, rather than the last couple of years. It's been a bit of a limbo period. Last year's motto was to compete. We didn't really do that. We didn't do that at all. We were the last, dead last in the league, right? And the years before that seemed to be more of a retool rather than, all right, let's just hit the refresh, reset button and start again. So I hope that with this restart, refresh, rebuild, that it can finally get us trending towards where we want to be in time, right?
Facts.
Brother Yaya says, Flacco for 5 mil. He understands the assignment. Well, now that we brought Crosby back, it might have priced us out from going after Kirk Cousins. So that might be the best option by default if we do make that move, right?
No facts. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? It was a blessing and a curse that we got Max Crosby back. Yeah, it's glad we got the player, but we did now have to take on that 30 million dollar contract for this year as well. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is what it is. He's one of the better players in the league. And I know John Spytek's still going to figure everything out. You know what I mean? I believe in him. So let him cook. He's been cooking this whole offseason.
Let him cook. And I'm glad, like I said before, it seems like the fences have been mended for the now. Max Crosby wants to be here, and by the sound of it, we're taking phone calls, but I mean, we haven't made the move to trade him off yet. Like I thought, if we were going to still move on from it, we would have done by now, right?
Facts. And at the end of the day, that's why I think Max Crosby came out on his podcast and said what he said, because I think he felt like that Bruntsville Ravens backballed him from the league, saying that he was injured and he's not going to be good for the future and so on and so on. So I don't blame Max for him coming out and setting the record straight and telling how he was treated and stuff from that organization, because at the end of the day, it was a whole fucked up situation. And I'm just glad he's back.
Me too, man. Me too. All right. I'm going to bring up a segment before we sign off, and that's going to be something that my guy, shout out to Samuel Raider, he brought to my attention via an Instagram post. And good morning to you. I'm not Bueno. Thank you for joining the stream. Good to see you, my friend. Just give me a moment. I'm just going to bring this share screen up. All right, one moment, please. All right, let me just change the screen real quick. All right, one moment. I'm just going to share that to my guy on. It's a share screen. Okay, there we go. All right, can you see that?
I can, brother.
All right, so I thought this would be an interesting thing we could switch things up with. And I found it an interesting kind of topic and debate. So shout out to my guy, Samuel Raider. He put up a post about who would win between the 2002 or 2016 Raiders. The 2002 being the year we went all the way to the Super Bowl, and 2016 being probably our most successful year since then, where we may have gone to the Super Bowl, if not what happened, not had happened, as we all know. But I thought it'd be a fun thing to just have a look at, especially with On Six, because he was part of both eras, and we could debate the fact. So I'll go to the offensive side of the ball, and can you see the screen right there? Huh?
I can, brother. I can.
All right. So there's a lot of household names, especially from that 2002 era. My God, look at those names. We'll start off with the quarterback position. So I only listed mostly the relevant names here on both sides of the ball. But I'll start off with quarterback. So who do you think has the edge between Rich Gannon, the 2002 version, or the 2016 version of Derek Carr? What say you on six?
This is not even no question in my head, and that's my boy Rich Gannon. You cannot take anything away from that guy. He won the MVP that year. Okay, that is Rich Gannon prime right there. I have never seen nobody control offense like I seen Rich Gannon control the offense. He was on fire that year. Oh my God, he just used to give the little hand signals to Tim Brown, give him that little look to Jerry Rice. Oh man, take me back, and that no hands down, Rich Gannon.
All right, I got you. But that's not to take away from Derek Carr. He had an MVP type season that year until what had happened. But Rich Gannon did win the offensive MVP that year. He was able to do it with his arm as well as he was able to scramble, make some plays when he had to. But he had a lot of help as well. I mean, you look at that roster, which we'll get into in a moment, but what a time to be alive, right? Unfortunately, it was before my time. That's why I have to get my guy on Six's takes. And guys, shoot in the chat what you think as well. But we'll move on to the running backs. So the running backs in 2002, the starters and your rotational guy. So you got in 2002 was Charlie Garner and Tyron Wheatley. I believe Charlie Garner signed the year before in 2021. And Tyron Wheatley, a guy I've learned to appreciate in recent times. And then in 2016, you had a coming of age Latavius Murray and an undrafted free agent Jalen Richard. You remember that opening game where he ran for what was it, 50 plus yards for a touchdown, through the Saints. It was just shoo. And we drafted DeAndre Washington that year, who had some good moments. But what say you? Who do you think's got the edge? 2002?
This is not.
Are we looking at 2016?
2002. No,
2002 again?
2002. If you guys don't know about Charlie Garner, guys, go look him up. That year we went to Super Bowl. He almost rushed for 1,000 yards and received for 1,000 yards. That's crazy. You think about that. 1,000 yards receiving and 13 yards rushing from a running back. Not even Amir Sincere did that when they ran for 1,600 yards and 60 touchdowns and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my boy Charlie Garner, man, hands down 2002. I'm sorry. Not to take away from the other team, but that's still crazy.
Latavius Murray, he had his coming of age year, I think the year before, but he was also able to rush. I think was his last season rushing for 1,000 yards that year. So he was good in his own right. But as a whole, Tyron Wheatley and Charlie Garner, it'd be nice to have that 1-2 punch again. I mean, we do have Ashton Genty, but I strongly believe we need to find that second guy, and I think we're going to attack that area via the draft since we didn't really do it in free agency, right?
Facts. There's a lot of good running backs in this year's draft class, especially in the later rounds that can fit our head coach's system. So it should be exciting.
For sure. All right, we'll go to fullbacks because this is another area that was stacked on both sides. I mean, gee, look at those two names. John Ritchie, more of your do-it-all blocking. He was a big unit back in the day. Pause.
He was, dog.
And Zach Crockett, more of your guy you would throw it to, making plays, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he used to get the ball on the goal line for us, and John Ritchie used to block from.
And then he had we remember we moved on from Marcel Reese the next season, so we had Jameez Olawale as our fullback, who actually was a worthy successor to Marcel Reese the year we moved on from him in 2016. I thought he was a good enough player on with his he was probably a better utility than he was a blocker, but he was still not bad at that area too. But who would you give the edge to? 2002 with Richie and Crockett, or 2016?
I just think two is better than one. When you got a two-headed running, I mean fullbacks. I like Jermaine. He has a little special part of my face. I have his jersey in my collection, but still gonna give it to 2002 on this one.
It's almost looking like a wash, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you were there, you would know. That's what I'm saying.
I've been going back and watching Raider football. I've been doing my
I know
homework.
you are. I know you do, but I'm just saying these cats. You know what I mean? Just think that team was unbelievable because it was. Don't get me wrong, that team was. But when you go back to that 2002, oh man, this brings me this smiles to my face. You know, just thinking about it.
And Raider for Life says, I like Zach's celebration there. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what does that represent again? When he did that?
I don't remember. AR.
Somebody else does that too. I forgot. Raider for Life. Can you tell us what that represents when he used to do that? But we'll move on. Wide receivers. Now this is an interesting battle because in 2016 we did see the best of Amari Cooper, who was still like sometimes somewhat inconsistent, but when Cooper was at his best, he was looking like the best wide receiver in the game. Michael Crabtree had a resurgent year with the Raiders. Clutch man Seth Roberts. I mean, how many times did he come in clutch that season, right? To me, the second best slot receiver we've had since the turn of the millennium, just behind Hunter Renfrow. I'd still rate Hunter Renfrow better than him.
Yeah.
But Seth Roberts provided many good moments that year. And Andre Holmes was our depth guy, I liked for a minute. But then when you look at that 0-2 roster, highlighted by the likes of all-world, all-time Tim Brown, all-world, all-time Jerry Rice, and Jerry Porter, who was still new and fresh to the league. But with those two names specifically, they were in their 40s by the time 2002 rolled along, but they were still both very highly productive, which I guess if you're two of the best to ever play the position, I mean, some consider Jerry Rice to be the best in history, period. Unfortunately, most of those years weren't for us, but by the time he came to us, he was still an all-elite type receiver. I mean, from my knowledge, both of them passed the 1,000-yard benchmark. I think both of them had 9, 10 touchdowns apiece. And then you go to the other side of the court, like Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree, both I think passed 1,000 yards that year. But as a whole, who would you say was the better wide receiver core? And I'm talking about that year specifically. And salute you now, man. I see you in the chat. As well.
Yeah, that's what
I'm talking 2002. I mean, if you're looking at it as a whole, of course, you're going to go Tim Brown and Jerry Rice. It's not even a question. But talking about that year specifically, where would you go? And Jerry Porter too, if you have any memories of him.
I do.
Okay, man. I got you ready for life.
Oh man.
I guess I'll throw you a bone. Statistically, Tim Brown and Jerry Rice had more yards, more touchdowns than Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. But then you got to look at, you got to think about what Seth Roberts was able to produce that year. And I don't know if you remember too much about what Jerry Porter was able to do.
No, I do remember. That was my team, but it's just hard because I'm not trying to be biased, but fuck, man.
Would you go 2002 again?
Yeah, I will have to just by a small bit, just because that production up top is too much. I think if you were going depth-wise, you will have to go the other side. You know what I mean? Because that's deep. That's a dip. I think that's one of the deepest receiver cores we had since that team. So
right,
it just, man, that team was so magical. And Seth Roberts getting those late game-winning touchdowns that year, even the ones that come up to mind against the Buccaneers, man. Wow, man, fucking Seth.
So Jeff says it was an acknowledgement to their fraternity, as well as Raider for Life said that. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, I had a feeling it was to do with that, but I appreciate it. And Circus, I see you in the building. It was a great free agency until the rat turds of Baltimore were slime boards. This is a grudge for life, absolutely. We were talking about the fact before. I appreciate you joining circus. But we'll move on. We'll go to the tight ends. Now, this is probably the weakest area on both sides of the ball. I mean, you did have a young Doug Jolly. Well, I don't think got too much burn in that 2002 season. I think it was more leaning on Roland Williams, who was all right for a minute. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Doug Jolly's best years with the Raiders came after that. But then you look at the other side, you had a young Clive Wolford, who I thought showed potential in that 2016 season. Unfortunately, he never really carried forward that potential. And then as depth, you had a guy who I really liked in Michael Rivera. I believe that was his last season at tight end for the Raiders. But what say you? Where would you go with the tight end battle? That man says Jolly was supposed to be way better. Okay, I got you.
To me, it's hard because I love both tight ends. My boy Doug Jolly, he was my favorite tight end growing up on the Raiders, especially him out there with no gloves. But my boy Clyde Waterford went from the U, and we drafted him, man. And that year, man, I thought he was going to be our tight end for the next 10, 15 years, man. I thought that DC to Clyde Waterford connection would be fucking hot for the next 10, 15 years. But, oh, man, this is hard, man. This is hard because, like, my head's telling me 2002, but my heart's telling me Clyde Walford, you know what I mean, Michael Rivera, because, oh, man, we didn't get really nothing. Because Williams wasn't really doing much either. He was mostly in for blocking, but still, I don't know. I need help in the chat. Somebody help me out. Jeff, what do you think, brother?
Well, I'd probably go more. I'd probably lean more towards where your head's at rather than your heart. So,
yeah, right.
it's a weak battle from that season specifically.
Yeah.
So do you go 2002 again?
Yeah, I'll go 2002 again.
All right, there you go. So 2002 gets the edge again, but a weak room on both sides of the ball. Unfortunately, Clive Wolford didn't really amount to much after 2016. And Michael Rivera's best years were the season before that year. But anyways, we'll move on. But this is another interesting battle. This is one that Jeff, I'm sure, would like to get in on. The offensive line battle. So with 2002, you had a very stout offensive line, to say the least. You had Barry Sims at left tackle, Mo Collins taking over from Steve Wisniewski at left guard, Barrett Robbins, one of the better centers that we've had in our history, Frank Middleton, the right guard, who was pretty solid himself, and then you got Hall of Fame. Is he a Hall of Famer yet? Lincoln Kennedy?
I don't know. Is he? I don't think he is.
Well, he is an all-time Raider great at the very least at right tackle. Something we've struggled to fill the void since he hasn't been around, and that's been what, over 20 years. So yeah, and then you had Adam Treyu, who started some games at center. It was more the long snapper, but he did provide some depth. So that's your 2002 line, very solid line to say the least. But then you look at the other side. Oh boy!
Oh my God, this line was nasty.
So this line was it. And salute to you, Nate. I see you in the building. You got left tackle Donald Penn. So this is the car insurance. Kelechi Osemele, left guard. Rodney Hudson, center. Gabe Jackson, right guard. Austin Howard, the right tackle for the most part that year. Which unfortunately the right tackle was the weak spot, but still you had Austin Howard, who he was solid when he was on the field. Menelik Watson, the second round guy, who was a depth guy, didn't work out for us, but whatever. And then he had remember John Feliciano? I believe he was a Miami alumni too, right?
He is from the U.
Right. And Jeff says this is based on the season, not just one game. So Robin's issues, right? And I hear you, Raider for life. He's saying because Barrett Robbins messed up, so he did mess up royally come the Super Bowl. But we're talking about the season as a whole. And before that, Barrett Robbins was one of the better centers in the league. I believe he still made the Pro Bowl that year, and he made a few Pro Bowls during his career as a Raider. So he was still a great player, but then you have him duking it out with one of the best centers we've ever had in Rodney Hudson. And comparing the two lines as a whole, and Nate Nate's in the building as well. I'm sure he'd like to get his takes on the matter. But what say you on who would you give the edge to?
I'm so torn right now. I have no idea, bro. Oh my god, this is hard. This is fucking hard.
Well, as hard as it may be, I don't get me wrong. I like that 2002 offensive line. Man, can you really go past that car insurance? I mean, across the board, they were all Pro Bowl, all Pro type players, except for maybe the right tackle position.
Facts, because Donald Penn only one sack. KO was the best guard in the league. Rodney Hudson was the best center in the league that year. You know what I mean? Gabe Jackson. I will have to go with that line, though. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a 2002 purist, but oh man, that offensive line was something nasty.
All right, so finally, 2016 gets one on the board.
I'm sorry, guys, but I want to hear what the chat has to say too about this.
Nadman says he would say 02 because the bookends were unreal, both of them. The other right tackle was not the best all year. Right, so I hear that, Nadman. I would give the edge. I mean, it's not even close in my personal opinion, and most people will agree with that. And salute to Darren, I see in the building, with Lincoln Kennedy. But then everywhere else, maybe right guard, because both Middleton and Jackson were your solid pieces without being your Pro Bowl, all-pro type players. But then when you look at the center position, yeah, it's a battle with Rodney Hudson and Robbins, but still, you're going with... I personally would go with Rodney Hudson, being that he was the best center in the league for pretty much the whole entire stretch he was with us. And then you got Kelechi Assembly against Mo Collins, which I would go with Kelechi Assembly, being an all-pro type player. And then a left tackle, you had Pro Bowl Donald Penn and Barry Sims. So I do appreciate Barry Sims. He was a decent left tackle during his tenure as our starting left tackle. So yeah, Raider Jeff says no lineman made the all-pro in 2016 and only made. Are you sure about that?
What? Really?
Really?
So nobody in 2000 made the all-pro. What?
Oh. Let me have a look at that.
Did some players in the 2000 team off the line make the all-pro, and then nobody in the 2016? Really? What the fuck? And in that case, you gotta go 2002, my boy. How the fuck? What?
Give me one moment. I'm gonna check that. That can't be right. Where? Oh, here we go. All right. One moment. So Donald Penn did make the Pro Bowl. Kelechi Assembly did make the Pro Bowl, and he was your All-Pro. And Rodney Hudson did make your Pro. Okay, I got you. So Kelechi Assembly was your All-Pro. He was an All-Pro, though, some of the years he was with us, though, with Rodney Hudson. But yeah, you know, I guess. Where would you go? I personally would go 2016, but it's not as far-fetched of a battle as you might think, right?
Nah, I got to go 2002. I'm gonna go 2002.
You going 2002?
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous, bro. How the fuck? That's That's three different starting linemen, dog. What the fuck?
I'm gonna throw 2016 a bone. I'm going with 2016, but like I said, okay. that's not shade at 2002 when you look at the names that were on that roster, specifically highlighted with Barrett Robbins and Lincoln Kennedy. But I don't know. I personally would go with Donald Penn, Kelechi Assembly, Rodney Hudson, and then with a young Gabe Jackson. But right tackle, I mean, gee. Lincoln Kennedy. Shit. You cannot go past there, right?
Facts.
All right, so we'll move on to the defensive side of the ball. Now, this one's going to be quite interesting. We'll start with up front, and it's a pretty weak state of affairs on both teams, to put it mildly. But I'll read out 2002. You've got Sam Adams, John Perella. I don't know if you remember those two guys. There was Darrell Russell on the roster, but he was suspended for the year. So if he was there, you would almost have to give it to 2002. But unfortunately, he wasn't that year. And then you go with 2016. Dan Williams, a guy I had hopes for. Didn't really turn out to be the guy I was hoping he would be. Justin Jelly Ellis, who was a decent enough player. One of the better defensive tackles that we were. Probably the best defensive tackle that we've drafted in the last, God. Like, we drafted in, 2014? And ever since him, it's been a turnstile of picks that just haven't panned out. And I know people are going to say Mo Hurst, but he was good from spots, but that's it for me. And then he had Stacey McGee, who I did like for a minute, but again, the spot guy. So probably another weak area on both sides, but who would you go with?
Oh, man.
A coin toss.
You want to flip a coin and pick? You want to pick a coin, flip a coin and see whatever lands? I get. Oh man.
I would personally go with 2016, but that's not really saying much. I mean, yeah, whatever. What say you?
Oh man, I think I have to go 2002.
Sam Adams, John Pirelli. You'd rather those two over the likes of Justin Ellis and Dan Williams in 2016?
Yeah, I would actually. To be honest with you, if I had to start two, I would have those two. To be honest with you.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that then. I'll take your word for it. All right. So this is an area which is actually going to be by a landslide. But I'll throw it out there anyway. So your defensive ends, your starters was in 2002, DeLawrence Grant, Tony Bryant, Trace Armstrong, and Regan Upshaw. I didn't mind so much. I liked old mate Regan. No relation to Gene, but he was there. And then you look on the 2016 side of the ball, where our defense as a whole was weak, but there was one name that was able to pretty much carry that whole defensive side of the ball almost single-handedly if he didn't have his Robin to the Batman per se. And that man is Khalil Mack on the defensive end. And salute to West Side to see in the building. Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, and Danico Autry. Oh, this one's not even close. Well, I'm going to ask you the question anyway. And the chat, what say you? 2002 or 2016?
Do I get included defensive tackle CMO? Oh no.
Oh, God. If you know, you know. Go ahead on.
Nah, this is no doubt in my head. This is 2016. I'm sorry.
Not even close. Not even close. This is by a landslide. Probably the one position that's by a landslide when you compare the two rosters. So, yeah, I mean, those were Khalil Mack's prime peak days as a Raider, and so far in his career, I think that was 1 year removed from his MVP season. But he was still. Did he win that year, or was it 2015? It could have been that year. Whatever. It was still during his prime days as a Raider. One of the all-time Raider greats in my personal opinion. And yeah, you can't go past there. Whereas when you look at the other side of the ball, it wasn't really their area of strength. More so guys who were good in spots. So yeah, 2016. Pretty easy, right? And then shout out to Bruce Irvin and Danico Autry, who were able to do their thing as well. All right, now here's another landslide type deal. We'll go to the linebacker. Oh, God. All right, so 2002, your starters and the headliners for that position, Bill Romanowski, Napoleon Harris, and Eric Barton.
Beast.
And then you go to the you go to the other side of the ball. Yeah, okay, thank you, Nabman. It was 2016. Okay, gotcha. And then you look at 2016. Oh my goodness, what a woeful state of affairs, right? Perry Riley, who remembers that guy? I remember him, but he wasn't that great. Malcolm Smith, the former Super Bowl MVP, and former round 6 draft pick from that year, I think, Corey James. It's not even close, right? But I'm going to ask you the question.
Yeah.
2016? Sorry. What am I saying? 2002? Bad joke.
2002, but
not even close. Not even close. Oh, boy. It's going to be another landslide position. So, we'll go with cornerbacks. So you have in his Raider prime Charles Woodson, Torrey James, who was no slouch himself, and Philip Buchanan, a young Philip Buchanan. And you're going up against Dave Amerson, who I liked for a minute, but 2016 was the start of the slide for Amerson in terms of his productivity. Sean Smith, a guy that just didn't work out for us. And TJ Carey, who I appreciated being a 7th round guy and was also able to provide some things on return duties, but I'm going to ask the question, but it's not even close. Right? You only have to read out the first name, and it's just like, yeah, 2002.
2002, dog. That's not even fair.
Not even fair.
Beast.
Yeah. Easy.
Beast.
Yeah, I agree.
Beast.
Chat agrees. That's landslide. Easy.
Landslide.
And another landslide type deal. It was a pretty stacked defense when you look at 2002, other than the up front. Like, their strength was more on the middle to the back end side of things. But I'll read out the names. You got Rod Woodson, Derek Gibson, and Anthony Dorsett on that 2002 roster. And then on the 2016 roster, you had Reggie Nelson, who I believe he made the Pro Bowl that year, which was surprising. I thought he was okay, but I didn't think he was great with us. He was okay. Carl Joseph, we took him in the first round that year, who was a thumper, a hard hitter, solid, but didn't quite work out to be that first round draft selection that we hoped he would. And then you had Keith McGill, who I will forever remember being the guy who was in the backfield and the ball bounced off his hands. I believe it was that 2017 game against the Chiefs. It bounced off his hands, which should have been a surefire interception, and it went straight to their wide receiver, who was able to run it to the house and was almost a game-winning score had we not come back in the end and scored at the death with Michael Crabtree. I don't know if people remember that, but I had that featured on my Raiders and Fortune show. So, anyways, what say you? And Westside says he had Carl Joseph's jersey. I had Jonathan Abrams, not Carl Joseph. I do appreciate Joseph. He just, I guess, he was good. He just wasn't great like you'd hope he would be as a first-round selection. But on 6, what say you?
This is 2002.
It's not even close. Again.
Not even close.
I believe Rod Woodson made the Pro Bowl that year, if I'm not mistaken. Am I mistaken in that, Jeff? You were able to enlighten me to the fact when I last asked you this question. But he was still highly productive, right? Rod Woodson?
He was, bro.
Derek Gibson.
It just
Anthony Dorsett.
Yeah, it just trips me out. These good corners are able to switch from corner to safety and still produce for another 5 to 6 years just in their career, like Woodson did and Rod Woodson. It's crazy. As a little kid, I really didn't know how good I had it with those early 2000 teams, man. Just looking back at them now, just saying the names and shit, like, fuck, we were really spoiled.
Well, why I thought it'd be interesting to go, you know me, on my channel, I like to not just talk about the current state of affairs, but try and switch things up, make things a little interesting, right? So, yeah, Jeff confirms he was a Pro Bowl and All-Pro type player. Okay, I got you. Thank you very much. All right, well, that one was another wash, I guess, to the 2002 roster. It's 4 out of 5, although that defensive end, it's not even close there, right? Not even close. Well,
yeah, it's not, but it's just crazy. Oh, here
we'll round things off with special teams.
Let's go.
It's not too much differences on both sides. Well, with the place kicker. Anyways, but we'll start off with your punter. So bear in mind, this is 2002 version of Shane Leckler up against the 2016 version of Marquette King. Not their career as a whole, but at the time. So who would you say? Who would you give the edge to?
Oh, this is a good one. This is actually interesting because that year Marquette King was on fire.
Yeah. And I'll throw you a bone. I believe Marquette King's net average per punt was more than Leckler's at the time. I mean, if you're going to argue as a career as a whole with the Raiders, you cannot go past Shane Leckler, who's one of the all-time greats. But Marquette King probably had his best season as a Raider, and he provided some moments as well that was able to fire up the nation per se. I mean, the fake punt, remember that, and some of his other plays that he made that year with his punting. He provided some nice moments that year. But who would you go with? Just for that season
King
specifically.
here.
King?
Yeah, probably King there.
So we'll go to
That's
2016
man, that's crazy.
All right, well, we'll go to place kicker. And remember, chat, this is
really hard.
that year specifically, not their careers as a whole. Otherwise, you'd go with Shane Leckler, right? So this is the 2002 version of Seabass. So he's third year into his Raider tenure. I believe, how many years was that? 17 seasons as a Raider? So, quite a long tenure in the league. And then you got him in his final year as our punter, because we would move on, kicker. We would move on from him the next season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, this one is going to be Sebastian Janikowski.
Right. Well, I'll throw you a bone. I think 2016's his kicking percentage was better than his 2002. So we'll throw 2016 a bone as well. Pause. Yeah. Big pause. All right. So long snapper. This is an interesting one. So you got Adam Treu. It was decent enough, competent enough long snapper, but then you got him going up against my boy John Kondo, who was one of the better long snappers in the league for a while, and he was with us for quite a minute. So, what say you? 2016 or 2002?
I say Kondo on this one as well, even though, yeah.
All right, I get that. Jeff says 81 punts for King and only 53 for Leckler. So that just goes to show the firepower that we had on offense. Yeah, I get you. That's a good point. But go ahead.
No, I was just looking at Marquette King that year. He averaged 48 yards per punt. And then 2002, Mr. Leckner, only brother, averaged 42.5. So that's a big difference there in the putting. But
okay, I got you.
I'll take.
Go
ahead. I have to take 2016, Mr. Kondo, on this one.
So we're talking about long snapper specifically, Jeff. Like, I guess as a whole, you might have to go with Treu because he was able to play on the offensive line serviceably enough. I did watch some games where he was actually starting when Barrett Robbins was out. But at long snapper specifically, I personally can't go past one of my favorite long snappers with the Raiders, and that is John Kondo. I appreciated him and his services. So. Yeah, thank you very much. And salute to you, Marcus. He just gifted 5 memberships. My stream is about to bug out again, so just bear with me. So there's one. 2. 3. 5. So congratulations to the new members, and Marcus, I appreciate your support. You've been rocking with me for a while now. Even though you're not a Raider fan, you're definitely one of us in terms of the community here, because you support not just myself but every one of us. So thank you very much for the gift. It doesn't go unnoticed, and it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, brother.
But anyways, we'll go to last but not least, and salute to you, Bueno. 4 months into the program. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, brother. All right, so returners, you got Marcus Knight, Terry Kirby, and Philip Buchanan, 2002. I believe I can't remember which ones of those, but they did have some returns for touchdowns that season on both sides, kick return and punt return. And then 2016, yeah, Jalen Rashad, TJ Carey, Tywan Jones, who I did like as a special teamer. But where would you go?
Oh man, I think I'm going 2002 just because I think they had more touchdowns kicking in punt return. I think, if I remember correctly.
Right. I think they had a touchdown on kickoff return and one on punt return from those two. I think it was Philip Buchanan and Marcus Knight. But
yeah,
you can't go past that. 2016, they were all right, but again, like we weren't getting Jacoby Ford type numbers, right?
For us, if Jacoby Ford or Johnny Lee Higgins were over there, that might have been okay. We got to go that way, but they're not on that one, so I can't.
All right, so just to round it up, you got 2016 had probably the better special teams as a whole for that season specifically. Although on returns you can't really go past the 2002 roster. Then we'll go back to offense. I mean, an interesting battle in pretty much at every position. But then again, you can't really go past 2002. I'll just go back there. One moment, please. Why is it not going back? Go back. Oops. Sorry. One moment, please. All right, so there's a 2002. So you got Gannon having the edge over Derek Carr, and then 2002 had the running backs being better with Charlie Gardner and Tyron Wheatley over the likes of Latavius Murray. Jalen Rashad and DeAndre Washington. Fullbacks, I mean, you can't really go past that. John Ritchie and Zach Crockett over the likes of Jameez Olawale, who I did like still. And then wide receivers was a very interesting battle, but you can't go past 2002 with Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, and Jerry Porter. But that's not to say that they weren't highly productive in Murray Cooper, a resurgent Michael Crabtree, and one of our better slot receivers is Seth Roberts, and then Andre Holmes, that depth guy. Tight ends, a little weak on both sides, but on 6 went with the 2002 room with Doug Jolley and Roland Williams over the likes of Clive Wolford and Marco Rivera. And then the offensive line battle, that was a pretty well contested battle, especially in the chat. I personally went with 2016. Aunt says 2002. Some of the guys in the chat says 2002, but as a whole, that team gets the edge on offense, and then you go to the defensive side of the ball, and yeah, it's not even close. I mean, you got one position that bridged the gap for the 2016 roster, but then everywhere else it's not even close, right? You look at those linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties in that 2002 roster, and you compare it to the 2016. I mean, my goodness, right?
Facts. At the end of the day, I think it would have been a competitive game, but I still think no matter what, 2002 would have come off on top.
Yeah, would be an interesting battle, but 2002 gets the edge for me. All right, we're gonna go back to screen. All right, you got any final thoughts on 6 before we get up out of here?
My final thoughts is just relax, Raider Nation. John Spytek knows what he's doing. He clearly does. He came into planning this offseason and he's executing it. I think the only thing that went wrong so far is a Max Crosby trade, but there's nothing he can do about that. He did everything right by the book. So at the end of the day, shout out to Spytek, shout out to Mark Davis living this life, and let's see what happens with this draft in the next couple of weeks, man. So thanks for everyone pulling up. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks to Jeff. Thanks to everyone that donated memberships and stuff, man. And on to the next one.
Sure. And very much appreciated to those guys and everyone else who was able to join us today for you, tonight for me. Jeff says 2002 wins for sure. Pete says that Saints game was Jalen Rashad's awesome homecoming. Right, I do remember that play very vividly watching that. I mean, I just remember him just breaking through the line and being like, who the fuck is that? And then I was like, oh, Jalen Rashad. I appreciate the membership, Jeff, being a member for 13 months. I remember somebody edited that play and posted it. It went viral for a minute where Jalen Rashad kind of, in Super Mario, how they get the star and they and then it's like,
Yeah.
and they're like flashing that. Yeah, someone edited that moment with Jalen Rashad when he burst through the line and just ran through the whole Saints defense and wasn't even close, right? Definitely a moment in time. I didn't forget that whole game. Michael Crabtree going for it on 2 and us winning at the death. Yeah, what a time. And I hope that we can have more of those moments, because in recent history, like it's been few and far between, and I'm over it, right? I'm so tired. I'm so done. I'm so done. We're all so done, right? It's
No, we are, brother. But the good thing is that we're headed in the right direction and stuff. You know what I mean? The future is bright with the Raiders organization. You know what I mean? Just with us gonna be able to draft our franchise quarterback for the next 10, 15 years from Fernando. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the future is bright, and I do believe we're heading in the right direction.
Nabman says there's a reason 2002 went where they went. We just proved it. Yeah, I agree with that comment there. But like I highlighted before, I hope that with all the moves we've made is the start of us moving into, we've moved into a new era. Can it be a successful one? Only time will tell, right? As well as with the draft, we really need to nail the draft. I keep saying this for the last couple of years, but especially with this one, this is probably one of our most important draft classes in a long time. We have 10 picks. We really can do some damage if we get it right. We don't have to bat 100, but if we can nail 4 out of the 10, that will go far with where we can be with our future, right? And hopefully one of those guys is who we take at pick number 1 and can prove my endorsement of the pick and your endorsement of the pick right and not wrong, like some of us want us to do with trading the said pick. But anyways, I'm Afakasi Raider. Got my guy on 6. We out of here. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for giving us your time. Double tap that screen. Hit the like if you can on the way out, if you haven't already done so. And until the next one, we out of here. Raider Nation for life. Win, lose, or tie. You know what time it is. It's Raider Nation till we what? On 6.
Till we die, Raiders!
Raiders. All right, let's go. All right, peace, chat. We out of here. Take care, Pete. Alex, I see you. You take care too, man.